Hi guys, it's Kelly and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're talking about 22 new release fragrances for fall that I absolutely cannot wait to get my nose on. Before we dive into today's video, I just want to acknowledge the wet hair and the terrible setup that we have going on. I am the first to admit that I am kind of all over the place, and that's okay. I love myself anyway. Eventually, I will get it together, get a proper setup going, and actually start blow drying my hair. But some of you may know, some of you may not. I've been doing 75 hard for the past 2 weeks. And if you've ever done 75 hard, you know that it takes up a lot of your time. And so I've been like really focused on that and then just trying to create content in the pockets of my time. So today's list is a ranked list. I believe this is the first time I've ever done a ranked list, but I felt the need. So we're going with 22 fragrances. I'm gonna talk about my least favorite to sniff first, but all of these, of course, I'm like excited to sniff. But the first one I talk about is the one I'm going to be the least excited about, and then the final fragrance is the one that I'm the most excited to get my nose on. As I'm working my way through this list, if you've smelled this already, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know what you think about each fragrance. I cannot wait. For some of these fragrances, I've heard people's opinions on them, so I'm not like totally curious about some of them. I've gotten a good grasp of, I would say, about half of these fragrances, and for the other half of these, maybe a little less than half, I've heard nothing. So I'm really excited to hear other people's reflections as well as, you know, getting my own nose on them. Okay, so the very first fragrance that we have on this list coming in at spot 22 is a new release by the house Juliette Has a Gun, and this one is called Ego Stratis. Now, this is supposed to be a unisex fragrance, a little bit of like a fresh, fruity, kind of marine fragrance. I'm not sure who the perfumer is. It's not listed on Fragrantica. But on this one, we've got top notes of bergamot, mandarin orange, and lemon. Middle notes of C notes, peach, blueberry, cologne, and neroli. And base notes of ambroxan, cedar, and musk. Now, I haven't heard anyone talk about this directly on their YouTube channel yet. I have read a couple of reviews on Fragrantica, and basically what I'm getting from this fragrance so far is that it's going to be kind of like a fresh, light, kind of musky, genderless sort of like office type scent that's probably best suited to spring and summer, which I find the timing of this release is a little interesting because it seems like more of a warm weather fragrance. But as you may or may not know, like, I love the house of Juliette Has a Gun. There's some from that house that I absolutely adore, and I'm always excited when they have a new release. However, I'm least excited about this one on today's list because I'm not like a huge C notes person, and I also can't really get down with blueberry quite yet. I haven't found one that I like absolutely love, a blueberry note fragrance. And I'm not like super sold on peach either. So it just, for me, it doesn't feel like something I'm itching to get my nose on, but anything that the house launches, I want to get my nose on because I love the house. So that's why it's on this list, and that's why it's in spot number 22. Okay, next, coming in at spot 21, we've got Bath & Body Works Whiskey Reserve. Now, this is a new men's cologne from Bath & Body Works. Generally, I don't buy perfume from Bath & Body Works. It's not something I gravitate towards. If I'm going in there, I'm going in specifically for body cream or candles. That's like my go-to for Bath & Body Works. However, I did have a Bath & Body Works perfume that I wore religiously back in like 2008, 2009. It was my signature scent. I absolutely adore it. It's called Vanilla Noir. I wish that it was still available because I can just smell it just thinking about it, and it was such a beautiful vanilla fragrance. So when I see a fragrance launched from Bath & Body Works that I like the notes, I definitely want to at least give it a shot. So like I said, Whiskey Reserve is technically a men's cologne. However, once you hear the notes, you'll see why I want to give it a shot. I think that this is probably going to be more of a unisex fragrance, although of course, like, I still need to get my nose on it. Notes are crisp apple, single malt whiskey, and white oak. So I smelled Angel Share for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and ever since then I'm like, oh wow, I'm totally in love with anything apple, cinnamon, oak, whiskey related. Like apparently I thought I hated apple and I thought I hated cinnamon, and all of a sudden I'm having like this love affair with the notes. And so that's what caught my eye about this fragrance. It supposedly smells like a slightly sweet barrel-aged scotch, which if it does smell like that, then I can understand why it's a men's cologne. I don't know, to me that doesn't seem like a more feminine type of fragrance, but again, you can wear whatever you want. But yeah, I'm excited to try this out. I'm not like running to try it, but next time I'm in Bath & Body Works, I'm definitely gonna be headed over to the perfume section to check this out. Okay, next up in spot number 20, we have Somebody Would from the House of Phlur. This is in spot number 20 because I was in love with this house back in the day when they were a local Austin company. Their fragrances came in the white bottles, and everything I got my nose on, I was like, wow, this is artistry. Like, this is so good. Since the rebrand, I've been slightly unimpressed. However, I'm still trying to give it a shot because I used to love them. So the notes are what actually grabbed my attention on this fragrance. So we've got bergamot, cyclamen, we've got a leathery saffron, and then we've got a creamy sandalwood and amber in the base. And so to me, this sounds like my style of fragrance. It sounds like it's going to be this nice kind of like spicy, saffron-y, kind of creamy, yeah, just kind of warm, enveloping, inviting fragrance with that little burst of bergamot on top, which I love when there's like a little like dash of citrus on top, especially when there's saffron and amber in the fragrance. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm excited to try this fragrance. Like, you know, it's in spot number 20, not running for it, but I'm excited. Okay, next up in spot number 19, we have a new release from the house of Atelier, and it is called Encens Celeste. And unfortunately, Atelier is no longer available in North America, and so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to get my nose on this fragrance. However, I'm scouring Mercari, and I will do my best to get my nose on it. I'm really excited about this fragrance because it's totally up my alley. It's in the description, it's listed as like a smoky, kind of citrusy, incensey, kind of balsamic, woody, fresh, spicy, like totally my vibe for fall, winter. The notes listed, there's only 3 listed on Fragrantica. The top note is listed as bergamot, middle note of labdanum, and a base note of incense. I am a sucker for an incense fragrance. Like, it's absolutely one of my favorite notes for sure. And I just feel drawn to this. I'm not sure. It's gonna be either like a total hit or a total miss. That's usually the way it is with me and incense fragrances. But I'm really excited to give it a sniff. I also love when Atelier does these special release bottles. I love the label. The labels are so pretty. They're so my style. So I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to sniff this. Hopefully I can. But yeah, really looking forward to Atelier Encens Celeste. Coming in for spot number 18, we've got Burberry Her Elixir. Now, some of you have probably already gotten your nose on this. I have not. I have not been to Sephora in like over a month probably. I'm excited to check this one out because I really like the original Burberry Her. I don't own it, but I have sprayed it a couple of times and I love it. I love the strawberry note. I love that like kind of fruity, sort of ethereal feel that I get when I'm wearing it. So Burberry Her Elixir has top notes of strawberry and blackberry, a middle note of jasmine, and base notes of vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. So it doesn't seem like it's gonna be too far off from the original, but just kind of with like a slight twist. So I'm really excited to check this one out. Next up in spot number 17, we have Ex Nihilo's Santal Calling. Now, I am really excited to try this because it's described as sort of a milky, lactonic, iris, violet, kind of spicy scent, which sounds totally like my jam, especially for the month of October, November. I can't quite figure out if this one's gonna be like a cool fragrance or a warm fragrance, if you know what I mean. Not like cool weather, warm weather, but just like the feel of the notes, if it's gonna be cooler or warmer. I'm guessing it'll be slightly warmer because of the lactonic thing going on, but it does have a top note of nutmeg, and sometimes nutmeg at the top can be very challenging for me. It's a little bit too cool and too like sharp and spicy right off the top for me personally. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a hit for me, but it's got a top note of nutmeg. It's got middle notes of iris and milk, and base notes of sandalwood, musk, and vanilla. So I'm really excited. I have not had great success with the House of Ex Nihilo. If you've been following my videos for a while, you know that it's been a very confusing adventure. I'm ex nihilo curious, but so far I have not enjoyed as fully my experiences with the house as I have desired to. Yeah, I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with Phlur Narcotique. Yeah, I'm not sold yet, so I am desperately seeking the Ex Nihilo fragrance that is gonna like completely change my mind, because I so desperately want to love this house. I don't know why. This fragrance has gotten some completely polarizing reviews on Fragrantica. There's some people that absolutely love it. There's some people that absolutely hate it. So I'm not sure. Jury's out. We'll see how it goes. But that in spot number 17 is Santal Calling by Ex Nihilo. In spot number 16, we have a fragrance from a house that I recently got my nose on. I ordered 3 samples from the house, and I was really, really impressed with the quality of fragrances. There's so much more from the house that I still need to sniff. But this one is a new release that I feel like nobody's really talking about. I think I've heard maybe one person talk about it, and I'm not sure why, but it's called To My Father, and it's by the house Vilhelm Parfumerie. On their website, they said that this fragrance was actually launched in 2021, but I literally just heard about it and I saw it pop up as a new release somewhere. I can't remember where. So I know it's not like a brand spanking new fragrance, but it's pretty new. It's also, you can't find it on Fragrantica. Like, it's a very elusive fragrance. So this is listed as a men's fragrance. It has top notes of ambrette seed, bitter orange, and Divana, mid notes of Cabruva, whiskey, and juniper, and base notes of white oud, oak, and leather. So definitely a men's fragrance. I don't think that this is necessarily one that I would probably end up wearing. However, I am, like I said, I was really impressed with the house, so I am really excited to just get my nose on it, and especially because it feels so closeted. Like, I don't know why you can't find that much information about it. Like, it's not even on Wilhelm's website right now. You have to kind of search on the internet for it. So yeah, I'm just a little bit like, what's going on with this mystery fragrance, which makes me want to know more. Next, in spot number 15, we've got a fragrance by Miller Harris, and this fragrance is called Myrica Muse. I have yet to smell a Miller Harris fragrance. I know, crazy. But I saw this and then I heard a couple people talk about it, and I was like, this sounds like something that needs to be my first impression of the house for sure. So you guys, listen to this note breakdown. We have top notes of strawberry, bay leaf, and mandarin orange, and pink pepper. Middle notes of musk, rose, and patchouli. And base notes of vanilla, rum, and benzoin. So this sounds absolutely gorgeous. It sounds fruity, it sounds warm, it sounds sweet, it sounds feminine. Like, the bottle is this beautiful pink color. It just sounds fun. Like, it just sounds really fun. And I've been really curious about more, like, I want to get more into strawberry notes and fragrances. I haven't really like dove into that. So yeah, I'm just really excited about this fragrance. I have a feeling that I'm absolutely gonna fall in love with it. Okay, coming in at spot number 14, we have a fragrance from a house that I have no experience with, and I haven't actually felt that inspired to dive into the house, even though it's a pretty popular, you know, very long-standing house with lots of apparently great fragrances. The fragrance is called Legacy of Petra, and it's by Penhaligon's. I have really wanted to get my nose on Cairo by Penhaligon's because I've heard a lot of people saying amazing things about that, and it just seems like it would be right up my alley. However, this has just kind of been like on the back burner for me, this house, and like, yeah, I just don't really feel that inspired to try anything from it. However, I was recently watching a video with by Jus de Rose. She's a fragrance reviewer here on YouTube, and the way that she spoke about this fragrance, I was like, maybe I need to get my nose on this. So Legacy of Petra is going to be kind of like an ambery, sort of smoky, sweet, kind of resinous fragrance, which I absolutely love. It's totally like one of my absolute favorite categories of fragrances. And the note breakdown seems really unique, and I always love when I see like a really unique, different note list, I'm always like, I'm really curious about this. So in the top, we have notes of green tea, fennel, and bergamot. Middle notes of licorice, myrrh, olibanum, and rosemary. And base notes of vanilla, benzoin, and woody notes. So yeah, I have no idea what this is gonna smell like, but I have a feeling it's absolutely incredible. Let me know in the comments, have you smelled this yet? I know some of you have gotten your nose on this for sure already. Yeah, let me know what you think. I feel like, is it gonna be slightly herbaceous? Is it gonna be kind of green? I don't know. I'm curious, like, is it gonna be more of a cool fragrance? Is it gonna be more of a warm fragrance? I'm not sure, but this is Legacy of Petra by Penhaligon's. All right, next up in spot number 13, we have Oud Nude from Guerlain. Now this, I know a lot of people have gotten their nose on this already. It's been released for at least maybe a couple months. And I know that it's a very polarizing fragrance. Some people are loving it, some people are hating it. To be honest with you, I'm kind of loving the bottle. That's what's grabbing me in. The bottle is absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful. It's so my style. Very like clean, a little bit earthy, a little bit regal looking. The notes seem totally up my alley. I picture this being like a really cozy, comforting, kind of sexy fragrance. I'm really excited to try this. So the notes are bourbon vanilla, almond, agarwood, raspberry, sandalwood, atlas cedar, and rose. So like I said, very polarizing reviews on this fragrance, but I am very excited to get my nose on it. Okay, moving on to spot number 12. We're getting like more and more into the things that I'm like really excited to try. I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit because this is gonna take forever. We're only halfway through. But this is by a house that I, again, have not smelled anything from, but I keep hearing about them, and they're a clean house and they've won awards and they're supposedly really fantastic, and they also kind of fly under the radar. So this is called Char or Char by Henry Rose. I'm not sure if it's Char or Char. This is gonna be like a sweet kind of vanillic amber experience. This note breakdown is like totally up my alley, so check this out. We've got top notes of tonka bean, African ginger, and labdanum. Middle notes of Indonesian patchouli and African orange flower. And a base note of Haitian vetiver. This sounds sexy, it sounds spicy, it sounds alluring, it sounds mysterious, it sounds like the name kind of, I feel like, may describe it well if it's pronounced Char. Like, it just seems like it would be something that's totally in my wheelhouse. I don't see any reviews on this yet on Fragrantica, and I haven't heard anyone talking about it yet, so I'll be going in totally blind probably when I get my nose on it, but I'm really excited for this one. Okay, next at spot number 11, we have something by the House of Oud, and this is called Ruby Red. Now, this bottle is everything. It reminds me of Dorothy's shoes in The Wizard of Oz. It's this beautiful ruby color. I love the bottles for the House of Oud. I don't have any bottles yet, but I love seeing them on YouTube, and yeah, I'm just really excited. Again, you're gonna see some similarities with all of these, I feel like, with the kind of fragrance category and some of the note breakdowns, but this is what we're looking at with Ruby Red. We've got top notes of ginger and tangerine, middle notes of ginger flower, tuberose, and lang lang, and base notes of candied ginger, vanilla, woody notes, and musk. So this just sounds like a total ginger bomb, which I love ginger in all forms. I love ginger ale, I love ginger beer, I love candied ginger, I love like raw ginger. I just love ginger. I think it smells so good and it's so comforting. It just like kind of mellows me out and it just does something to me. It makes me feel all warm and cozy inside. So I'm super excited for this. It's interesting. Like, I wouldn't pair the look of the bottle or the name with this note breakdown, but again, I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I haven't read any reviews of it, so really excited to see if people are loving this one or not. All right, moving on to spot number 9, we have another incense fragrance. This one is by the house Histoires des Parfums, and it's called Encens Roi. I don't know how to speak French, you guys. I'll put the title down below. But this is gonna be like a warm, spicy kind of balsamic oud fragrance, so maybe like something really good for the really cold winter months. But yeah, this looks divine. We've got top notes of incense and pink pepper, middle notes of saffron and pimento, and base notes of agarwood, which is oud, and cacao. So, I mean, this sounds incredible. This sounds like everything I've been wanting in a winter fragrance. And I basically love everything that this house puts out. Like, I have not put my nose on a single fragrance from the house that I wasn't like, wow, that's really well done. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. This house never disappoints me, and I am really excited to get my nose on this. Moving on to spot number 8. Now, this might surprise you a little bit. It's not generally something that I would normally have on a list. However, let me tell you what the fragrance is, and then I'll go into the story. So this fragrance is Bare by Victoria's Secret. Now, I've never owned a Victoria's Secret fragrance. I used to be obsessed with Love Spell. Oh my God, I went through countless bottles of that when I was like 20 years old. But I've never bought a fragrance from Victoria's Secret. I've sniffed them in store, and I've never felt inspired to purchase a single one. It's just the DNA generally doesn't suit me. However, I heard someone talking about this on YouTube, and I can't remember who it was, but the way that they were describing it, I was like, oh, that might actually be something that would be like a really easy grab and go for me. Like, the way she described it, it just sounded totally up my alley as far as just like an easy kind of everyday, something I can just kind of grab and spray or wear while I'm just lounging around the house. So the note profile is pretty simple on this one. It's Australian sandalwood, mandarin orange, and violet, which sounds easy. It sounds approachable. I don't think this is going to be anything mind-blowing, but I guess I'm like really craving like just sort of a gentle, soft, subtle wear around the house fragrance, because I don't really have much of that in my collection. Okay, next up in spot number 7, this is something that I know we've heard a lot of people talking about lately, so this is definitely a little bit different from the rest of the list, because I think this has been the most talked about maybe out of my list, and it's already out of stock. Like, it's just kind of taken the world by storm. And this is Venom of Love by Navitus. Now, I smelled my very first Navitus a couple weeks ago. I think I'm saying that right. Navitus. I smelled Absolutio a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, this is really, really good. So I'm super excited to get my nose on Venom of Love. I've recently kind of discovered the cherry note. I didn't think I was into it. Now all of a sudden I'm into it, which is what happens to me with notes. So I'm really excited to smell things that aren't necessarily in the same vein as like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. And I've heard that this fragrance is doing cherry very well. So in the top of Venom of Love, we've got notes of cherry brandy and bitter almond. In the mid, we've got chocolate cherry, Turkish rose absolute, and Egyptian jasmine absolute. And in the base, we've got almond cream, vanilla, and amberwood. So yeah, this fragrance just has, to me, I think it's gonna have this like beautiful, warm, sexy, kind of dark, gourmand, kind of heavy, juicy sort of experience to it, which I love that in the winter. So yeah, I'm really excited to get my nose on this. I haven't really heard any negative feedback on this fragrance. I think everyone that I've watched a review where they've mentioned it, they've only had positive things to say about it, which is probably why it's sold out and out of stock. So yeah, I'm really excited to get my nose on this. Let me know in the comments if you tried this one yet. I know that some of you have probably already tried it. Really excited to hear what you have to say about it. Okay, moving on to number 6, we have something, again, this is another one that I haven't heard as many people talking about this as I've heard them talking about Venom of Love. However, I've heard a couple of people raving about this fragrance, and this is by the House of Kerosene, and this is called Followed. So just to be like super clear, Kerosene has a fragrance already called Follow. This is Followed. I know that there's been a little bit of confusion about that online, and it's interesting. I'm like, I don't know, from a marketing perspective, I'm like, does that really make sense to have the name so close? But that's fine. So yeah, people are absolutely raving about this fragrance, especially gourmand lovers, which I am a total gourmand lover. So with Followed, you're gonna have notes of coffee and caramel, chocolate, vanilla, Madagascar vanilla, and amber. Does that not sound absolutely delectable? So I feel like this is gonna be one of those like super gourmand, like edible, sweet, like sticky, just kind of like, I just wanna eat you, you know? Like, I love smelling like that, especially in winter time when it's cold and it's all like cozy and you've got your big sweaters on. I am so excited for this one. I feel like the more we make our way down the list, the more excited I get. Okay, spot number 4. Are you guys ready for this? No, spot number 5. This is a new release, and I'm not sure a lot of you guys know about this yet. It's a new release from the House of Byredo, and it's called Eyes Closed. So I know some of us were a little bit thrown off by De Los Santos. I know some people didn't have any issues with it. I know a lot of us had issues with the performance on De Los Santos, and it like almost left a bad taste in my mouth about the house. However, I'm a Byredo fan. I love them, and I'm not going to just judge them on that. Okay? I'm like determined to keep my mind open. So this one seems like it's not totally my style, but I'm still really excited to get my nose on it because I want to smell everything Byredo does. However, it seems a little bit a little bit of a cold, spicy fragrance for me personally. However, I could be wrong. It could be a little bit warmer. I'm not a fan of cold fragrances generally. Sometimes I am, but here's the note breakdown. So we've got top notes of cinnamon and cardamom, middle notes of orris, carrot, and ginger, and base notes of patchouli and papyrus. I feel like if the patchouli is pretty substantial in this fragrance, I'm probably gonna like it a little bit more because I feel like it could really ground down some of those more cooler kind of spicy notes. However, if it's the cardamom and the ginger and the carrot that are kind of the main players, I don't know. But you know, you never know. I feel like sometimes you can't necessarily just go off of the notes profile, even though you think like logically that's what you would do, but you know, sometimes we're surprised. So yeah, I'm really excited to get my nose on this one for sure. All right, spot number 4, you guys. We've got the new release from the house of Matiere Premier, and it's called Crystal Saffron. Again, another house I've smelled nothing from. However, I'm already in love with Encens Suave, even though I've never smelled it, but I just know I am because, yeah, from what I've heard, this house is quality. Absolute quality. So I listened to the interview that Sebastian did with the perfumer for Crystal Saffron, and the way that he described it, I'll tell you his name in a second, but the way that he described it was a little bit very much like a cold style saffron, which again, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that I gravitate towards. However, I'm really interested to get my nose on it and give this a sniff. So the perfumer for Crystal Saffron, his name is Aurélien Guichard. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. And the only notes listed for this fragrance, the top note is musk, middle note of saffron, and then base notes of ambroxan and incense. So I don't know where that like coolness comes from, maybe the ambroxan, but yeah, I'm just really curious about this fragrance. I absolutely love saffron, like love it. I absolutely love incense, and I am also really intrigued by like names and the creativity like behind the fragrance, like what prompted someone to create the fragrance. And I, from listening to the interview with Sebastian, Aurélien was saying how he really wanted to create like a different style saffron because saffron is so dominant on the market right now. And so I really appreciate that. I love when people like, you know, take a different approach and really try to do something that's not currently being done. I really appreciate and respect that. So, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be a win for me, but I'm really, really excited to give it a shot. Okay, I just realized I've been like totally off on my numbers for most of this video. So this is actually spot number 4. And we've got Ellis Brooklyn Vanilla Milk. Now listen, I know a lot of you guys hate this fragrance. Like I've had many conversations with you guys about this. Some of you absolutely love it and some of you absolutely hate it. And for some reason with a polarizing fragrance, I need to figure out which side of the fence I sit on. Like I have to choose a side. You know, and I love Ellis Brooklyn. I'm not like a huge fan of their older stuff, but I'm a huge fan of Apres. I love Sunfruit. Oh my gosh, love it, absolutely love it. And I feel like the house just keeps getting better and better the more things that they launch. So I've heard some people say that Vanilla Milk is very sour and very like nauseating. I personally don't mind like a milky lactonic thing. And, you know, I heard people say that This Is Her goes sour on their skin as well. Like I heard kind of the same feedback about This Is Her and Vanilla Milk. And This Is Her is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. So I have a feeling that Vanilla Milk and I are gonna mesh. From what I've heard, Vanilla Milk is like the absolute do not blind buy of the century. So please do not blind buy this one. It's extremely polarizing. So in the top, we have top notes of milk, peony, frangipani, and jasmine, which are all notes that I enjoy. Mid notes of bourbon vanilla, Madagascar vanilla, and cacao pod. And base notes of benzoin, amyris, sandalwood, and musk. So the note breakdown sounds fantastic. I am really excited to try this. For some reason, the Sephora that's like basically down the street from where I live, it's like a 10-minute drive, which is like nothing in the city, you know. For some reason, they don't carry Ellis Brooklyn or the Kayali fragrances, which is so bizarre to me. I'm like, how do you, like, we live in a city, like, we're not in East Bum, like, how do you not carry this? But anyway, so I haven't smelled the new vanilla milk yet. I know it's been out for like a hot second. So yeah, I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments. I know everyone has opinions on this fragrance, everyone who's tried it. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on vanilla milk. Okay, we're getting closer, you guys. Spot number 3 is by a house that no one talks about. I literally never hear anyone talking about this house on YouTube. It's a clean house. It's called By Rosie. They have a fragrance called Rosie that I absolutely fell in love with a couple of years ago. It was like my pandemic fragrance. So basically I got it, I believe I got it literally in my FabFitFun box, like in April 2020. And long story short, I had like this crazy cough for like 2 months, like right when the pandemic started. And when the pandemic started, I was in Australia. I almost got stranded. I almost got stuck in Australia. I literally got the last flight out from Sydney to LA before they shut the borders, like literally the last flight. It was a little bit of a squeeze. And I just didn't feel good. Like, I didn't feel good. And I got home and then I had this dry cough. Pretty sure I had COVID. But anyways, I barricaded myself in my house for like 2 months. I did not leave. And I got my FabFitFun box and I got Rosie. And I literally wore that every single day. And so now it just reminds me of like being at home. I like did a ton of yoga. I like got caught up on a lot of like domestic projects. Like there was so much that I got done during that time. And yeah, Rosie will always remind me of that experience. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of the house. They make super clean, non-toxic fragrances that are really high quality. And they haven't had a new release in a while. And they just released one called Dulce, which I've heard people say if you weren't into vanilla milk, Dulce is kind of like the thing that people are hoping that that's like the one that lands for them because they're both clean houses, you know? So yeah, let's take a look at the notes. Okay, so Dulce has notes of vanilla, hinoki wood, and nude musk. So very simple, straightforward. I get the feeling it's going to be like a nice, comforting, kind of soothing, gourmand, like a good snuggly fragrance, probably a little bit sexy as well. So yeah, this is one that I am like really, really, really excited to get my nose on, and I'll probably get my nose on it very soon because I know that they do have this one at Sephora where I live. All right, moving on to my top 2. Very excited for this. So in spot number 2, I've got Initio's new fragrance. It's called Paragon. Now, I love everything Initio. There's only two Initio fragrances that I have not liked, Magnetic Blend number 7 and Magnetic Blend number 8. Just not that into them. They're a little bit too like light and airy for me. However, everything else that Initio has put out, there's quality, like chef's kiss quality fragrances. They're obviously really freaking expensive, but I think they're totally worth it. They're just gorgeous. The bottles are gorgeous. The DNA that they have, like nobody else has done their DNA. Like it's just, they're a beautiful house. I'm actually going to read to you the description of Paragon because this is totally up my alley. Like, I just love everything about this house. The way they describe fragrances, the kind of atmosphere that they're trying to create with their fragrances. It's just so my vibe. So my vibe. So it says, Paragon goes beyond the skin all the way to the soul and leads you to another dimension, plenitude. Paragon houses the botanical soul of Palo Santo, which is like my favorite, and white sage. It draws in the beneficial properties of these sacred plants, whose use has been secretly passed down through initiation ceremonies dating back to the first lines of Inca shamans. This mystical blend holds both protective and purifying powers. It feeds self-confidence and helps the spirit to rise enveloped in positivity. I love that. I am a little concerned whenever I see people using Palo Santo. I am a little concerned about the harvesting of Palo Santo because I think it's a problem. So I need to do a little bit more research on that. But I always just hope that people are being sustainable, especially when they're creating these fragrances and charging a lot of money for them. Yeah, I just hope that people are being respectful of the planet when they harvest the resources they need for these fragrances. But if anyone knows any more information about Palo Santo harvesting, please let me know in the comments. Feel free to share links. It's something that I definitely would like to be a little bit more educated on. So Paragon has top notes of bergamot, white sage, and lavender, mid notes of plum, love plum, Palo Santo, and black pepper, and base notes of sandalwood and agarwood. So yeah, this just sounds amazing. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely beautiful fragrance. Cannot wait for this. Okay, and the number one thing, you guys, I feel like if you know me really well, you can probably guess what this fragrance is, because you might know this is one of my all-time favorite houses, and I feel like they never come out with new releases, so I'm like really excited about this. I've been waiting for a new release from this house for what feels like years. It might be years. But this is Indigo Smoke by Arquiste. Now, I've heard some people talk about this, and the feeling I'm getting is that people are loving it. Okay, so the note breakdown on this one. So we've got top notes of vetiver, lapsang souchong tea, I hope I said that right, bergamot and mandarin orange, mid notes of apricot, gaiac wood, cassia bourbon, and carrot seeds, and base notes of cedar leaves, pine tar, mate, and incense. Like, what? This sounds amazing. So I love tea fragrances. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I prefer a black tea note, but I know nothing about this lapsang souchong tea, so I bet it's amazing. And then having the mate and the incense and the pine tar and the cassia bourbon, like, this all just sounds so fantastic. I'm so excited to try this fragrance, like beyond excited. So that is my list, you guys. 22 fragrances. That's a lot of fragrances. I feel like it's impossible to keep up with all these new releases. It's impossible. Like, is anyone doing it successfully? Please let me know in the comments, and let me know how. How are you doing this? I need to learn from you, because this is a lot. So I'm really excited. I love how big the fragrance industry has gotten. I love how many options we have and how much like creative abundance there is right now in this industry. It's just so inspiring, and it's so cool, and it's so fun. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Anything that you can do to help me grow is amazing. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.